KUAM TV8, first on Guam.
KUAM News, winner of the 2022 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Culture Club.
KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust. Serving Micronesia since 1938, Matson celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus, Guam's leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime, a local family pleading for help from local police and with authorities in Texas. Loved ones searching for a mother and daughter suddenly vanished without a trace. Plus, we round off our top stories of the year, see what makes it to #1 just ahead. And we bid farewell and good luck to a longtime sportscaster. The man behind the saying, "We got this, Guam," does his final sportscast. Hafaday, I'm Nick Delgado. Welcome to Primetime. A mother and daughter from Guam have gone missing since boarding a flight to Texas. Both last seen on Christmas Eve. Jonah Gancharfer speaking with the family, making pleas for their safe return.
One family is hoping someone watching this and hearing their plea will come forward with information on the whereabouts of 28-year-old Catherine Little and her daughter 3-year-old Lillian Rose. According to Gwen Herod, Catherine's mother, she last saw the pair on Christmas Eve at 11 p.m.
My husband said he saw them around 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, they were sleeping, but we always kind of look in and check on the kids to make sure that they're in bed or wherever, and then we go to bed ourselves.
That was the last time they were seen on Guam. Catherine and Lillian Little were then seen at the Lubbock Preston Smith Airport in Texas.
They were on a United flight in there, and it said that they got in at 11 p.m. on Christmas Day, Texas time.
Family said they were not aware of her travel plans, but are deeply concerned because of Catherine's medical condition.
Catherine does have some medical conditions that makes her very susceptible to individuals convincing her to do things that aren't in her best interest sometimes.
Which is why Herod and the family are making it known to the public.
We don't, want to have her labeled or anything, but we do want them to understand that even though she is 28 years old and that Lillian is her daughter, she does have some mental incapacity that is not going to make her the same as a normal 28-year-old. She works at a level of about a 12 to 14-year-old.
She adds that they have been in contact with the Lubbock police, but they have essentially said their hands are tied until the Guam Police Department places them in a missing persons system.
I have provided them with all the information that they requested, and we're waiting on the actual detective or the investigator or the officer to get back with us to tell us they need more information or they don't need more information or that it's been put into the system. That is the only thing that Lubbock, Texas is waiting on at this point in time.
And for the person who purchased their tickets, helped them move from Guam, and to who picked them up at the airport,
we would like for her or for someone to contact us or contact somebody with, information on how they're doing, where they're at, what's going on. I don't know how to express myself any more than that. We're very worried because we don't. Our worst fears is that she got in with some type of trafficking type thing because of her capacities.
The family is appreciative of everyone's assistance helping get the word out.
I want to thank everybody for their help and their support, and if they can keep helping and supporting us, I would greatly appreciate that.
If you have any information, you can contact Sierra San Nicolas at 671-487-0603.
And Police Chief Stephen Ignacio confirming this afternoon that they received info from the family but had a few follow-up questions regarding the case before contacting authorities in Lubbock. The Port Authority's top managers will start the new year with healthy new raises, the board approving the salary hikes at their final meeting of the year, noting the general manager Roy Respicio and his deputies have not received any increments or increases over the past 4 years. Nestor Lecanto reports.
Discussion of the races for General Manager Rory Respicio and Deputies Dominic Muña and Louis Baza came at the tail end of the agenda after a lengthy presentation by Respicio on the port's accomplishments.
Maybe it's sensitive, but it's rehiring of Roy J. Respicio as Port General Manager from pay grade step RR-8B at $169,968 to RR-10D at $187,751.
The raises for Muña and Baza would be from $134,314 to $151,348. The proposed pay hikes are from a salary study prepared by Baza and requested by the board. The raises are still less than where they'd be had the management been given increments.
I'm at 48,000 less from where I would be today, but this $187,000 figure is not representative of this 48,000.
The $187,000 amounts to about a 10% raise from his current salary. In further support of their decision, one board member pointed out that the top managers received outstanding evaluation ratings over the last 3 years. Meanwhile, board member Conchita Taitano says maybe it's about time they start looking at raises for all.
Could we have a discussion about the port employees? And you touched on that. The general manager touched on that, you know, they were getting like in the lower 25% of what they should be making. And we need to discuss this so we can, you know, we can compensate the port employees for the good work they've done.
For KUAM News, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Thanks, Ness. In a statement, GM Respicio saying it was at the board's insistence that he and Muña would receive the salary they should have gotten 4 years ago under the port's pay plan policy. Also, Deputy Manager Baza is leaving the port. Respicio saying they wish him well and the governor will eventually name a replacement. Our Top 10 countdown wraps up when we return.
When you're built for tailgating, you're built for winning. Winning at storage. Winning at parking. Winning at technology. Winning at comfort. Winning at winning.
Mobile offers a new and convenient way to fuel your vehicle. Pay gas and go. No need to line up inside the store. Press preset. Enter whole dollar amount without decimals. Press loyalty ID and enter your mobile number or insert Smiles card. Insert and remove payment card or tap contactless credit card. Begin fueling. And don't forget to grab your receipt. Pay gas and go. It's that easy.
The race was on this year as 3 gubernatorial teams spent months going head-to-head to lead Guam. Voters getting to the polls early for both the primary and the general after hearing from the candidates. Along with the race for Adelup were seats for the 37th Guam legislature, Guam's delegate, Guam's attorney general, and elected members on the Guam Education Board and the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. The election taking nasty turns and twists in almost every race. On the ticket, Guam's delegate Mike Sinicolas already facing public backlash on the campaign trail by the House Ethics Committee for alleged illegal campaign contributions. He was in the primary with veteran journalist Sabrina Salas Matinani.
It's time for us to put this all to rest, this kind of politics, this kind of neglect of our people. How do we have a gubernatorial election 4 months in from 2 different tickets having declared and no one's talking about the people?
The Democrat Party of Guam tried to block them from running under the same ticket as incumbents Governor Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio, but that didn't happen.
Now is the time to keep Guam moving forward, and together we will realize a bright future for our people and our island. That is what this election is all about.
It was a long primary night with the incumbents taking the win going against the GOP's, former Governor Felix Camacho and Senator Tony Atta.
She has created a society now where people are dependent on big government.
That's not big government. That's a humane government.
There was no great debate and ultimately no new season. The current administration winning 4 more years. Attorney Douglas Moylan beat out incumbent Leaving Camacho and declared write-in Peter Santos in the AG race. And Senator Jim Moylan packed up his office here and headed for the nation's capital to be Guam's next delegate. There are also more new faces, along with familiar ones, voters picked for the 37th Guam legislature.
The campaign has ended, and we hope to unite.
The number of homicides to hit Guam this year is well over last year's total. 11 people died in 2022 by homicide. The first remains unsolved. Patrick Sakai was found in a Jigo residence with multiple stab injuries and blunt force trauma. Detectives still looking for a killer. That same month, remains authorities would later learn as Stevie Villanueva were found in a trash fire in Chalampago.
My heart is broken completely, and I walk around with a long, sad face because I lost my child. His death, all due to his addiction to ice. We've tried to help Stevie.
Manny Murciano and Robert Revels are charged in his murder. In March, Ty Kenson was stabbed to death following a drunken argument in Mighty. Tano Resalap is charged with his murder. That same month, an officer-involved shooting, Iope Rudolph was apparently targeting people at the Dedado gas station with a slingshot when Officer Justin Kenga allegedly shot and killed him.
The cops came and he didn't want to listen and he got shot.
Kenga is facing charges in local court. In April, a man who led police on a chase to Harmon where his car caught fire and he was captured on cell phone video holding an airsoft weapon was shot dead.
In the ensuing moments, an officer discharged his firearm, striking an individual.
The investigation showing the officer was justified when he pulled the trigger. The 6th and 7th homicides were a double shooting at a ranch in Jigo in July. Police say the men shot and killed each other.
They came to that point where they had to draw weapons amongst each other, so that's what I was shocked about.
In August, a murder at the Department of Corrections prison. Inmate MB Koto allegedly stabbed inmate Cesar Dizon. That same month, a violent stabbing at the Dedado Center claimed the life of Kiefertson Aiken.
Our love for Kiefertson will be forever.
Samson Shapusi was charged with his murder, 4 others arrested in the attack. The 10th homicide is a shooting that claimed the life of Edward Bamba.
It was a love triangle.
Janice Sabata faces charges for Bamba's murder. The 11th tragedy unfolding just 2 weeks before Christmas. Arno Naroon was badly beaten and died from his injuries. Investigators say brothers Branty and Jaron Wallaby were both drunk when they approached Naroon and attacked him. The pair recently indicted in his murder.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Howdy, folks. Nobody loves a Guam potluck more than I do. That's why I always bring my world-famous chicken, served any way you like it. Original recipe, extra crispy tenders, Kentucky Fried Wings, and more. All right. And nothing completes a meal like KFC's signature sides. Hot mashed potatoes with gravy, coleslaw, and a flaky biscuit. The world's favorite chicken, right here on the island, and only at KFC Guam. Whoops! Well, it is finger-licking good.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. I have some Little League Baseball news to pass along to you in just a bit. But first off, your top 10 sports stories of 2022. Check it out. Top 10 sports stories from 2022. At number 10, J.P. Cruz scores 71 points in the Triton KFC Basketball League. Number 9, FD Friars win their 13th straight high school golf title. Number 8, Manami Ejima Martin wins 3 gold medals from the Pacific Mini Games. Number 7, Brogan Walker advances to the finals of the Ultimate Fighter 30 finale in Las Vegas. Number 6, Atos Jiu-Jitsu Guam wins 2 of the major jiu-jitsu tournaments in their first year of competition. At number 5, we have volleyball coach Donan Cruz, who was selected as the Division I Men's Volleyball Coach of the Year. Number 4, Guam National Youth Football Federation makes their way back to the gridiron. Winning the Matua Division title was the Guahan Eagles, finishing with the perfect record and coming from behind to beat the Angels 22-15. Number 3, the Ukudu Bulldogs win their first high school girls volleyball championship. Ukudu beat the JFK Islanders for the ISA League title. At number 2, we have Alex Castro making his bare knuckle fighting championship debut in Thailand. And at number 1, going back to back, finishing the year, we have DeAndre Cruz suiting up and playing in his first Division I football game for Stony Brook University. Now for some Little League Baseball news. The league is preparing for its 2023 season and is encouraging all teams interested in participating to contact league officials. Managers, coaches, or team representatives from all divisions are urged to attend upcoming weekly meetings to confirm participation and to submit the necessary documentation and rosters. Attendance is necessary to ensure an on-time schedule. Opening day of January 14th, 2023. The GLL is also looking for volunteers to help out in the upcoming season. For any and all inquiries and for more information, contact Guam Little League District Administrator Stephen Guerrero at 487-9060 or Guam Little League Board Member Michael Kanata at 482-2476. Now for some programming news. Monday, January 2nd, 2023. We have a doubleheader for you on KUAM TV 11 at 4 in the morning. NFL on CBS. The Miami Dolphins at New England Patriots. Keep it locked to KUAM TV 11 at 7:30. The Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. Switch the channel over to KUAM TV 8 at 11:15 in the morning. NBC Sunday Night Football. Pittsburgh Steelers at Baltimore Ravens. Well, this is going to be my last time anchoring sports here on the news desk. 22 years. It's been a pleasure. Definitely an honor to be working for the KUAM family for this long and bringing sports into your living room. It's been a long journey. Very proud of what I've been able to do within the community as a coach, in front and behind the camera. So definitely going to be missing the KUAM family, but this is not going to be the last time you see me doing good work in the community.
And you won't be going anywhere too far. You'll still be here on the island, still be here at home, and KUAM's just a knock away, really.
Yep. And a lot of memories, you know. I mean, for me, it's just the years of seeing athletes progress, grow from whether it be the youth to high school to adult sports, and some of them at the collegiate level. It's really been an honor covering all the sports stories that I have for these last 2 decades.
You've really covered an entire generation of it and done a job well done, cuz thank you so much for everything you've done. We've seen just this amount of support that We Got This has done to spread from here across the globe. So good job to you for everything you've done. We wish you all the best. Let's take a look at how everyone else is celebrating you here today.
Off a day. We're here today to recognize David, the sports guy Delgado, on his 22 years of life and career on Guam, commending him for his contributions to the sports community and the impact he's made on the island of Guam, and to congratulate him on the occasion of his retirement as the KUAM sports director. David, the sports guy Delgado, was born in 1976. To David and Lydia Delgado. He spent much of his youth on Guam and moved with his family to several duty stations until he returned to Guam in 1996. He's the father of Luna Rose and his reared son Aiden Advincula, and his partner of 7 years, Beatrice Cruz. He started playing men's football in 1997 and played for 20 seasons. He played adult basketball for GameWorks and the Dragons. He coached youth football for over 10 seasons, coaching the Northern Falcons, Guam Packers, Barracuda Crusaders, and the Island Broncos, and coached youth basketball for 3 seasons with the Islanders and Blue Devils. Dave coached women's football with Lady Falcons for 3 seasons and coached in the Japan Friendship Bowl. He started in master control for KUAM Pacific Telestations, Inc., monitoring 3 television channels, airing programs and commercial breaks throughout the day, editing and airing commercials, recording live feeds for later use, and airing live sporting events on all 3 channels. He moved over to sports, starting as a cameraman, filming highlights from many different sporting events around the island, editing, writing, and reporting on stories, anchoring on the news, sports events, specials, and documentaries, co-hosting, commentating, and interviewing fighters at PXC events. Dave organized, co-hosted, and broadcast events and games for the Philippine Amateur Basketball League, Boys High School Basketball All-Stars, Rising Stars Football, and Special Olympics Guam. He's been a career day speaker at Okuda High School, J.P. Torres Alternative School, George Washington High School, Father Dueñas Memorial School, and Estumbo Middle School. He has dedicated many years of service and volunteerism, working with Giving Tuesday, volunteering as a bell ringer with the Salvation Army, being a part of the KUAM Care Force, serving meals to underprivileged families, and working with various nonprofit organizations. And he coined the phrase and was the face of, "We got this, Guam." He's a television sportcaster, athlete, coach, and mentor, inspiring generations of athletes in the overall community of Guam. So now therefore be it resolved that the Imina 36 na Legislature Guahan does hereby, on behalf of the people of Guam, recognize David Delgado for dedicating 22 years of his life and career to Guam, commend him for his contributions to the sports community and the impact he has made on the island of Guam, and congratulate him on the occasion of his retirement as KUAM Sports Director. Be it further resolved that the Speaker certify and the Legislative Secretary attest to the adoption hereof, and the copies of the same be transmitted to David Delgado and his family, and to the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero and Micaagan Guahan. We want to congratulate Dave on this very special occasion. It's our honor to be here today.
Thank you. I think Dave has really done a great example of showing that sports, isn't just about sports, it's also about community. It seems like every day I'm talking to Dave, he's telling me, the other day I said, "Hey, what you up to?" He goes, "I'm buying a pair of shoes for a player." And we're talking about a player that he hasn't even coached in years. And so Dave doesn't just, get involved and then get out. He sees these players and these ideas and these sports and these teams through all the way. And so I think that Dave's going to be great at community service. It's something that he's been doing for, a lot longer than 22 years. And the reason why Dave knows what's going on in our community, whether it be the sports community or otherwise, is because he actually takes the time to go out there and talk to the people. And Dave, you coined the phrase, "We got this, Guam," but I just want to say you got this, Guam, and I'm proud of you, man.
Appreciate it.
Viva!
I'm just overwhelmed, I'm honored to be a part of this KUAM family for 22 years and allowing me to bring sports into your living room. And I'm definitely going to be around in the community, still doing stuff for the kids, the youth, and hopefully Manamku. So you'll definitely see me around.
All right. Go Niners.
Yeah.
Dave Delgado, Double D, the man that coined "We Got This, Guam." We're going to miss you at KUAM. You started a culture and movement in sports that got people excited, especially parents with their kids. And I got to say that you were invested in the community, you invested in sports, and you had a passion for bringing stories together and letting everyone else know information and stories and whatnot. But we're going to miss you, Dave Delgado, Double D. Good luck in your next journey, and know that you still have a home here at KUAM.
Wow, Double D, man. I just got to say good luck in whatever you got next. It was a great 10 plus years that I've worked here and worked with you, and I just want to say good luck to whatever you got next, and you go get them. And like you always say, we got this, Guam. Shooty.
Hey D, I know we haven't worked for long, but it was really nice working with you. It was nice to get to know you. Wishing you the best in your future endeavors, and Taco Gang.
What's good, Double D? I'm going to miss you. It was great working with you. Great hearing all of your sports coverage, and I hope that you have the best in whatever else you do. See you around, man.
Hi, Dave. I know I haven't been here that long, but it was really nice to see you sometimes in the corner there when I pass by. But yeah, have fun, and we will really miss you. Have fun.
Yo, cuzzo. We're going to miss you here, but I know you're not going to be that far away. Just a phone call away and a visit to a certain place in the capital city. We'll see you there. Good luck to you. All the best, and we'll keep checking you out.
Hey, Double D. We're going to miss you, guy. Keep up with the sports and don't be a stranger.
All right, Dave, good luck. See you around out there in the field. Peace.
Hey, Dave, man, it's never goodbye. You and I actually started at KUAM 23 years ago in the same month. So, I've known you, ever since. We've done so many sports productions together. Really, really good memories, and you're always going to be good at whatever you do because you always have been. So we wish you the best, and good luck to you, and God bless your family.
All right, good luck, Dave. I'm so sorry to see you go, and I'm going to miss hearing your voice all the last 2 decades for sports.
Hi, Double D. It was good working with you. Wishing you all the best in the near future. Peace.
It's been great working with you for the past 22 years. Best of luck, and we'll miss you.
Hey, Double D. The passion that you've shared through your stories of our sports community and the community in general have made a huge impact on audiences, not just on Guam, but all over the globe. We thank you for your service year after year. And to borrow a phrase that you've coined, we got this, Guam. So we wish you well in your next position, and know that your passion for service and helping others in the community will continue to shine through.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replay, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Feed Me Fridays is brought to you by Devondale, real milk from free grazing cows.
Happy holidays. My name is Lacey Martinez, and I'm back with another edition of Feed Me Fridays, brought to you by Devondale. And I'm here to try a gingerbread latte from Island Girl. Gingerbread is my favorite holiday treat. Scrooged with Bill Murray. And if you haven't seen this movie, you have to. If we're going to be friends, you have to watch this movie. It's kind of a retelling, a modern retelling of A Christmas Carol with Carol Kane.
I'm the host of Christmas Present.
I had a funny feeling.
If you're someone who's older, you might know who that is. And it's great. Please watch it, message me, and we'll talk about it. My favorite Christmas song. It's something a little more modern. It's Maybe This Christmas by Ron Sexsmith. I got it off of the Paul Frank Maybe This Christmas album back in the early 2000s. And I love it, and I play it every Christmas. And it just has like this little hope feeling of it. Not very traditional, but when you hear it, you'll know. My favorite Christmas memory is, of course, growing up here on Guam. My grandmother, her name was Soledad Palomo Redoblado, and she was like the neighborhood tetza. And she's like the rosary or like novena leader. And we'd have to go around to everyone's houses each night, and she'd do the novena, and my job was to kind of collect all the books. And I was kind of a bratty little kid, I guess, so I don't even remember singing the song. So now that I'm older, I really crave all of that music, all of that Chamorro novena music. That's gold to me. All right, cheers and happy holidays. This has been another edition of Feed Me Fridays with Devondale.
Feed Me Fridays is brought to you by Devondale, real milk from free grazing cows.
Now to your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shout out submitted on KUAM.com. And it's Friday. See who will be getting a yummy Cold Stone birthday cake.
Happy birthday on this December 30th to Frank Santos. Happy birthday, blessings, Frank. We're wishing you a lifetime of blessings, happiness, and good health. And the outgoing sports director we have on his last day. It's his birthday. And that is just how awesome Dave Delgado is. Double D, you're always going to be a part of this family. Obviously, we miss you. Good luck. Happy holidays to you and your beautiful family. And have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. Your birthday club winner, the last winner for the year 2022, is Brian Santiago. Brian was born on Christmas Eve. And Brian, we wish you a happy extended birthday, happy holidays, happy new year, and enjoy the Cold Stone Creamery ice cream cake. We're going to be in touch with you to let you know when you can pick up your prize.
And that's our time. Thanks for watching.
Must Love Christmas, presented by Post 360 Federal Credit Union. Together we thrive.
KUAM News Hotspot is brought to you by
Pacific Points, Do More, Get More, and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
The menu, brought to you by King's Restaurant, always open, always local, and Ruby Tuesday Guam, home of the fresh Garden Bar.
Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Hub. I'm Nestor LeConte. Thank you for joining us. This week, we're going to talk about Guam's growing geopolitical significance as it continues to be underscored by the millions and millions and millions of dollars in federal funding from both Congress and the U.S. Defense Department, not just for the construction of Marine Corps Base Camp Laws, but also for a state-of-the-art missile defense system.
From the defense of Taiwan to the North Korean nuclear threat, the Indo-Pacific region is now clearly the focus of U.S. national defense strategy. And with that, the geopolitical importance of Guam and the Marianas grows larger with each day. Congress and the Defense Department are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into Guam again this year, not just to build the first new U.S. Marine Corps base in 50 years, but for a state-of-the-art missile defense system to protect not just the people of Guam, but the expanding military assets to be housed here. Former Indo-PACOM Commander Admiral Philip Davidson told Congress about the need to protect Guam and its strategic assets as far back as a year ago.
Guam is a target today.
It needs to be defended, and it needs to be prepared for the threats that will come in the future.
He's talking primarily about China and its growing ambitions in the Indo-Pacific.
Most importantly, we all have to understand, Guam is U.S. territory. We have 170,000 U.S. citizens living on Guam. Their defense is homeland defense. We have 21,000 U.S. servicemen and women and DOD employees as well, plus their families. It's a deep water strategic port, major fuel stores, munitions stores, command and control. It is a major power projection airfield for us in the region. We have to demonstrate that any ambition that China might have and any threat it might put forth towards Guam would come at cost.
The costs the Admiral speaks of are also of great concern to a new research institute, the Pacific Center for Island Security. Its aim is to ensure that islands, quote, have a voice amongst the cacophony that is geopolitical posturing. The group boasts an advisory panel that includes the former presidents of 4 Pacific Island nations. PCIS says it will provide independent analysis of the foreign policy and military strategic activities and interplay between and amongst the actors in the strategic competition in the Asia-Pacific.
And joining us now to talk about Guam's growing geopolitical significance are Dr. Robert Underwood and Leland Bettis of the newly formed Pacific Center for Island Security. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Let me just start out with you, Dr. Underwood. Tell us a little bit about this new organization that formed and what its purpose is.
Well, Leland and I and Ken Cooper have been in conversation about the changing dynamics of the geopolitical situation in the Pacific, specifically in Micronesia, and how fundamentally almost all relationships that we have with the United States and with other islands and other countries are all based on the strategic significance of Guam and the region. And so we wanted to, there's always been conversations about security issues, but almost always they're usually led by, especially locally, they're led by government officials and military officials. Nothing wrong with that, but we wanted to expand that. We wanted to kind of bring some research base, some academic expertise, some innovative ideas about it, and we've reached out to many people, not only in the U.S., but also in Australia and around the region. And we decided it's a fledgling think tank is what it is. So we are endeavoring to create the opportunities for conversations and critiques about what is going on. Right now, what we have is, we usually have, like, for example, the recently passed National Defense Authorization Act. There's a number of provisions in there. We hear about them. We know they pass through Congress. Sometimes Congress doesn't tell us everything. Sometimes our own delegate is not really directly involved, so we don't know what's going on. Then we have to kind of put it in totality. What is going on? What do people have in mind? What are the threats that they see, and how does this address those threats, or how it changes our point of view about the region? So we've decided to do this, and we have, in order to accomplish this, we've invited an advisory group that consists of former President Tommy Rumengasao of Republic of Palau, former president of the FSM Manny Mori, former president of the RMI Hilda Heine, former governor of the CNMI Juan Babalta, as well as Anote Tong, who was the former prime minister of Kiribati. So it's a wide-ranging group of people, and we're endeavoring to kind of add to the conversation, enrich the conversation, and offer alternative views, so that we don't always feel like we're just kind of being led down a path that we're not sure about. So obviously, There's a lot of initiatives that are going on right now. The Pacific Island Initiative, President Biden had a meeting in the White House. China has introduced a number of initiatives into the South Pacific, and of course China's presence. And we're trying to make sense of that, not for China and not necessarily for the U.S. We're trying to make sense of that for ourselves. We're trying to understand that from right here in our home region. Hence Pacific Center for Island Security, and hence our logo, which Leland has there, which has a big breadfruit leaf, sort of like, nothing unites all of Micronesia like breadfruit. And so that's the symbolization of our perspective and what we hope to offer the general community.
Leland, before we get into some of those issues that Dr. Underwood mentioned, I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell us what your role will be as the director of this group.
I'm just one of the directors with Dr. Underwood and Dr. Cooper. But I think, if we look from the lens of history, no power persists forever. We have all grown up, all of us, in a period when the United States has been the predominant, not just regional power, but world power. That is changing, and that's recognized by the United States with the rise of China. I mean, China is a phenomenon. In the last 50 years, since relations with the West have opened up, it has done incredible things in terms of minimizing poverty or addressing poverty. Today, they are the world's largest producer of steel, but their population still is not well off. I mean, they have an average income that's 25% of Americans, and their progress will continue to move forward. And what does that mean? One of the things that means is they are adopting military power. And how does that work in relation to the United States, which has dominated the Pacific region for the last 80 years, since the last regional conflict that was part of the war? So, we're looking at this and trying to make sense of it from where Guam fits in. We know that Guam has been at the crossroads of history in the past in conflicts, and so we just want to try to make sense of it in relation to what we see as this clear competition between the United States and China in the Pacific region.
Yeah, Dr. Underwood, you mentioned the NDAA, which was recently passed by the House. It's pouring, again, hundreds of millions of dollars into Guam, not just for the construction of Marine Corps Base Camp Blas, but also for this state-of-the-art missile defense system. What's your big takeaway from all this money that's pouring into Guam?
And also add to that, I think a lot of people kind of put out of focus the fact that Japan is putting in a lot of money for this, because Japan wants the Marines out of Okinawa. So that's not part of the NDAA, but that's part of the money that's being spent in Guam in order to accommodate the movement of the Marines from Okinawa to here. Well, the big takeaway is, of course, the thing that attracts our attention the most is the construction at Camp Blas and all the issues that arise from that. And there are a number of issues relative to digging up the earth and what's going to happen with the firing range. But the more substantial issue, I think, from a regional perspective, is the money that's being earmarked or eyed for missile defense. So what are we going to do? What does missile defense mean for us? And what does it mean for the island? And how is that going to work? So I think they're spending almost $400 million to take a look at it. And it's not a done deal yet, but that means that there is some strong conversation and discussion inside Washington whether this is a road that they want to take down. And similarly, there should be avid conversation here in Guam where this is a road that we should also support, because that anti-missile defense network contemplates having 19 sites in Guam, and not all of them on military property now. It also kind of maybe gives us a sense of false security that somehow or other this is a system that's going to protect the island from every possible missile attack. And that's not necessarily true, and it's also unproven. It's not This is not a kind of like the Iron Dome that exists in Israel to kind of insulate it from attacks from their neighbors. And even there, where you have the Iron Dome, it doesn't always work. So that's the kind of analysis that we want to give. We want to have people have that conversation. We want them to know what is the intent behind missile defense. Certainly, it's pretty obvious that the missile defense system is to protect military assets. It's not to protect Tamuning necessarily. It's meant to protect the military assets.
All right, I think we've got
that are on island. The totality of that right now is that it's as part of the COFA negotiations, is that the U.S. is avidly negotiating diversion points where they can set up quickly. It's sort of in anticipation of the worst case scenario, which is will suffer a missile attack and then they have to survive that missile attack and operate from somewhere else, or have their assets so diverted and across the region that you can't really attack just one area. So there's a whole range of issues attended to that. And sometimes I think, we sort of simplify that, and it's a little bit more complex than that, let alone whether the technology is going to work.
All right. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more of our discussion. I want to talk more about the missile defense system right after this. What's the move? Okay, and we're back. Leland, before the break, we were talking about the missile defense system and all the money that the Defense Department and the Congress is going to be sending to Guam for that. But one of the other provisions in the NDAA was that the Defense Department will be required to post a senior defense official to oversee this missile defense system. What's the significance of that, Leland?
So I think some of this comes from the complexities that Dr. Underwood is talking about. What we're really talking about in the missile defense architecture for Guam is what they're calling the next generation of missile defense. Currently, the United States missile defense systems have been prepared for, although they are not 100% foolproof. They're prepared for ballistic missiles, which basically do a huge parabola in the sky and try to intercept them as they sort of reach the apex up in the atmosphere. The new missiles that are a threat not just to Guam and the region, but potentially the United States, are hypersonic missiles, which there is no existing defeat system designed for. Now there are ideas in mind, and these involve space sensors. They involve sensors on the ground, but ultimately you have to have one missile hit another missile, and how do you do that? So this is a very complex problem. There have been a lot of questions about whether the Missile Defense Agency, which has been very secretive about its tests, to manage this. These questions about MDA's abilities both at the congressional side as well as within the Department of Defense. So I think there's been an architecture proposed for Guam for this next generation missile defense, and the NDAA for FY23 proposes about $400 million for an independent research agency to evaluate if this is the right architecture, if this is the right system to be set up.
Yeah, I think Leland's frozen a little bit, but can you hear me, Nestor?
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Underwood. Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
So in that sense, just also understanding that the missile defense sort of industry is flooding the island and flooding the world with lots of different scenarios and advocacy for missile defense, so that so that when people talk about the billions of dollars that will be spent in Guam as a result of this military buildup, actually most of it goes to those technical systems, and most of that money will be spent elsewhere. So the whole idea that somehow or other this is a major economic boon to the island also has to be deconstructed, because I'm not sure, I'm almost sure that that is not the case. Let alone the construction in Camp Blas and the issues that pertain to that as well.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you guys just to respond to this. You hear, it's a good thing we got some missile defense system that's going to protect us, but it's a bad thing that we need one. And what are your thoughts on that, Leland?
Well, you wouldn't have an anti-missile system unless there was a missile threat. So clearly, I think everyone understands there's a missile threat. What is that missile threat? I mean, it's massive from the Chinese side. The numbers are staggering. And I don't think any of the systems that are being prepared today anticipate that all those incoming missiles, if they were launched, would be intercepted. So I think, you've got to just deal with that issue. Congressman Underwood talked about, these divert airfields throughout the region. I think those are Exhibit A, that the U.S. military does not anticipate that places like Anderson will be usable all the time during the event of a conflict. I think the other important thing, though, at least, to think about is that, it's unlikely that, or most of these missiles are going to be directed at the bases if there were a conflict. I don't think that anyone seriously thinks that, civilian targets in Guam by themselves, that would be the place where, an adversary wasted missiles. They're going to be targeting the military infrastructure in Guam because it is a very significant threat. Both out of the port as well as Anderson Air Force Base. I mean, Anderson has the largest petroleum, oil, and lubricant inventory in the entire inventory of the U.S. Air Force. It's got a massive weapons storage area, over 100,000 different weapons at Anderson Air Force Base, and then you add naval magazine for the various subsurface ships like submarines. So, any adversary that was engaged in war with the United States would probably spend most of their missiles directed at military bases or at places like command and control or anti-missile systems.
Yeah, you got a quick thing to add to the good thing, bad thing, Dr. Underwood?
Well, it's not a good thing in either event. That's my opinion. My opinion that you don't want to be a target, and B, the only reason why we're a target is because we are really the largest weapons capacity and fuel capacity in the region. I mean, it's enormous, as Leland has outlined. So how do we utilize that to our advantage is a government-to-government issue. But what does that mean for us as a people is a separate issue. And that's what we aim to do in the conversations that we will be sponsoring through the Pacific Center. What does this mean in the totality of things? I think people forget that there was a time when people thought, well, you can't really develop anti-missile system. So they had an ABM treaty between the Soviet Union and the United States. Well, that's gone by the wayside because most people think that the more anti-missile systems you develop, you're actually creating the opportunity for a new arms race. Because if you develop an anti-missile system, then your ostensible adversary is going to spend a lot of time trying to develop a new missile that will defeat that anti-missile system. So what happens is it doesn't reduce the possibility of conflict, it actually enhances it. And we have to kind of seriously think about that. And of course, we will do that in the course of time. Also, the nature of the military presence and the nature of the military expenditure, well, here we have on Guam, we have enormous rise in housing costs. And it struck me as ironic, So now we all know what the source of the rise in the housing costs are. It's because of the military presence and their effect on the market. And yet, when we have sometimes conferences, people will say, we have a housing shortage. Well, no, yeah, we have a housing shortage. And by the way, we've lost population in the past 5 years. So I don't know where that, all of a sudden, where that housing shortage comes in. But really, the issue is the effect of the military on our economy. So that means that hopefully a future NDAA will seriously address those issues, because that affects the quality of our lives.
All right, we got to take another quick break, but we'll be back to talk about Taiwan and the strategy of the island chain right after this break.
All right.
When you're built for tailgating, you're built for winning. Winning at storage. Winning at parking. Winning at technology. Winning at comfort. Winning at winning.
Okay, we're back. And as I mentioned before the break, we wanted to talk about China and Taiwan and the island chain strategy. First of all, Leland, tell me, what's your take on the Taiwan situation, and how soon do you think Beijing might make a move?
I'm not a prognosticator on, when they might attack Taiwan, but I think in general, the U.S. strategy in the Pacific is to create what's called a first island chain defense. And if you think about the islands running from Japan through Taiwan down to the Philippines and Indonesia, the United States is trying to hem in China and try to keep it contained in the South China Sea and in the East China Sea. So Taiwan fits into that in a very particular way. So all those countries in the first island chain are very sensitive to China. All of them, their largest trading partner for imports and exports, I think throughout the first island chain, is going to be China. So, they're very sensitive to where the Chinese are. Where does Taiwan fit into that? At present, the United States is the country at the forefront of suggesting that it would defend Taiwan. I think most people in the first island chain do not want to see that conflict. Most of them want to have peaceable relations with China. Most of them want to have peaceable relations with the United States, and they see both of those militaries as balancing each other in the region. Taiwan is of particular importance and significance to Guam, I think, because it raises the chances of miscalculation and risk to Guam. And that if the United States were to go alone in confronting China, clearly Guam would be a target. So in whatever scenario we see, movement around the Chinese and Taiwan and any escalation, I think Guam, is a significant target in that instance.
Yeah, Dr. Underwood, I think Guam and Micronesia are part of the second island chain strategy. And you've written about Micronesia and the Western Pacific as the big American lake. Can you interrelate those?
Sure. Basically, it's not quite the American lake that it used to be, because there's a lot of pathways through it. And one of the pathways, of course, is the fact that the second island chain, the notion was that you could keep the Chinese from not politically and economically advancing, but militarily through their naval forces, keep them within the first island chain. So now it's pretty obvious that they're here somewhere. They have the capacity to come here and wage war, and in a way where the outcome is not clear. And so then the next island chain, of course, you go all the way to Hawaii. And many, many years ago, back in the 90s, when the Chinese Navy tried to prove that they could go all the way to across the Pacific, they barely made it. Now that's no longer the case. They have aircraft carriers, sophisticated aircraft carriers, and they have a submarine force. Where our missile defense system might be directed at incoming traffic from the west, the submarines could be shooting at us from the east. There's just a whole different environment now. So the idea of the first island chain, second island chain, and third island chain is sort of obviated by these technological changes and the capacities of the what they call the People's Liberation Army Navy. So and going back to Taiwan, obviously, Taiwan is in the first island chain, and in a way, of course, very sympathetic to Taiwan because they're our friends, and we hope that no harm befalls them. But at the same time, recognizing that an actual full-scale defense of Taiwan by the United States would certainly involve using assets from Guam and make Guam more of a target.
All right, we've got to take one last break, but when we come back, I want you guys to talk a little bit about this big kickoff event that you guys have planned for March. We'll be right back.
MTO Maintenance will now completely sanitize